Okay, so first make a plan and then only proceed. So first I want you to understand that the previous, what is the difference between previous problem and this problem? The view factor, what is the previous view factor problem we solved? Rohit Dhamija?
Like two lines were there, 2D condition was there.
Yes, 2D, there is two lines at perpendicular of different length and we calculated the view factor between them and that was a 2D problem. Now, this problem, what is the difference between that 2D problem and this problem? Is this 2D or 3D? What happened?
The plates themselves are two-dimensional, but they are displaced in the third dimension.
Yeah. So this is not a 2D problem. It has to be treated as 3D problem. Two disks which are separated like this. So they are in space. So you cannot take a 2D problem. If you take a 2D problem, you cannot take this as two lines. This is not two parallel lines because different places they have different distances. So it cannot be treated as 2D problem. So it has to be 3D problem. So the formula that we worked out for 3D, two elementary planes, two different orientation like this and that. So that formula has to be used. So two things I want you to do. First, draw this 3D geometry. Determine the elementary areas DAI and DAJ on these two areas, and then cast the formula for this particular area. So again, three things has to be done. First, draw a schematic. Second, determine the elementary areas. Third, write down the formula. Fourth, cast the formula for this particular case. These 4 steps has to be done. So do this one by one. So this angle is d phi j, this angle is d phi I. This is Ri. This is Rj. Okay. So this is one elementary area here. And this is another elementary area. So this is dAI. This is dAj. So dAI equals to Ri d phi I Ri d phi I dRi, right? dAj equals to Rj d phi j drj. So this is dAj and this is dAi, and a phi j equals to 1 by AI integration over AI over Aj cos theta I cos theta j phi this distance. This distance, let us call it dij. So pi dij square dai daj. So is it clear? The drawing clear? Is the drawing differential areas, those are clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now we have to say now we have to put AI. AI, we know what is AI. It's easy. So because this is capital Ri, so AI is pi Ri square. AI is easy. Now cos theta I and cos theta j. Okay. So if I draw perpendicular on this, so this angle is theta j. And if I draw perpendicular here, this angle is theta I. What is the relation between theta I and theta j for these two plates being parallel?
They will be equal.
Yeah. So it's not too difficult to see that two parallel plates, if you draw perpendicular from each other, so they has to be same. So now what is this cos theta? So if I extend it till this one, so this is L. So cos theta equals to L divided by Dij. All right. So this is cos. So this is base. This is hypotenuse. Cos theta L by Dij. So same cos theta I equals to cos theta j equals to L over Dij. So if I substitute this here, so I get only one unknown in the entire equation now is Dij. So I have to write this Dij, and it is easier if I just transfer this coordinate system into Cartesian. So r, theta, and z. So this is a cylindrical coordinate. So I can convert the cylindrical coordinate into Cartesian coordinate. How? So in a cylindrical coordinate point, the point is here, Ri, Rj, phi j, L. This is the point here, and this point is here, Ri, phi I, 0. So we know that, so these 2 points will be differing in terms of z coordinate, and these are r theta and r phi coordinates. So we can write equivalent Cartesian coordinate for them as Ri cos phi I, Ri sin phi I, 0, and equivalent Cartesian here Rj cos phi j, Rj sin phi j, L. So this actually makes our life little easier with the distance between 2 points, because I don't remember the exact formula for this cylindrical coordinate distance between points, but I remember the Cartesian. So that's the entire thing. If you remember, you just write in terms of those. So then Dij equals to, or Dij square equals to Ri cos phi I minus Rj cos phi j square plus Ri sin phi I okay. So everything we required is known now, and all we now need to do is that to substitute these things and solve the algebra. So if I substitute everything here, so I get this following. Here I know that a phi j equals to 1 over pi Ri square. Now this area integration I can write in terms of quad integration with Ri equals to 0 to capital Ri, Rj equals to 0 to capital Rj, phi I equals to 0 to 2 pi, phi j equals to 0 to 2 pi. I have L square here, pi here, and 1 Dij square comes from this cos, 1 Dij square comes from this Dij square. So Dij to the power 4. So I have this entire thing coming here with the square. So this is the integration. And this is a little bit tedious. If you just square these things, you will get a simplified version here. So Dij square, actually you can make it a simplified one. Dij square equals to, yeah, you can get it here, Ri square. So this square and this square will give you Ri square. This square and this square will give you Rj square. There is L square. And now you have minus twice Ri Ij cos phi I cos phi j minus twice Ri Rj sin phi I sin phi j. So you will have negative of 2 Ri Rj cos of phi I minus phi j. So this actually goes here. Okay. So this kind of integrations appear for all those view factor integrals. It's little bit tedious to evaluate, so we'll not evaluate that. You will find the formula given in your text. We'll do it in a moment. Okay. So this is typically how you get the view factors. Any question on getting the view factors? Because now onwards we will not be trying to get our own view factors. We will try to read it from the textbook, from the formula, from the charts. But this is what people have done. So even entire books exist on calculation of view factor and their integral, analytical integral, numerical integral, all these things. All right to all. Where is Snehabandhu Singh? I cannot see him.
Sir, like he's having network issues.
Oh.
He's not.
So let us move ahead. So now let us go to a solution of problem number 3. So problem number 3 will require us to use view factor. So solve problem number 3, which says that two parallel black plates, that's a black body, their area is given 0.5 meter by 1 meter. They are spaced 0.5 meter apart. One plate is maintained at 1000 degrees centigrade and other is at 500 degrees centigrade. What is the net radiation heat exchange between the two plates? That's it, right? This is correct?
So it is 1000 degrees Celsius.
Okay. Okay, now it's correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, see previous problem, what we said that how much radiation a surface releases. So here we are saying that what is the net exchange. So that means that this surface is releasing radiation. Some radiation is going this direction, some radiation is going this direction, some radiation is going this direction. So we need to know that how much of this radiation released by this surface is received by this, and how much of this radiation released by this is going to this. So net radiation exchange. So net radiation exchange means from Q1 to 2 minus Q2 to 1. So this is Q net. So net radiation exchange between these two surfaces. So Q net Q net is, say suppose if this is surface 1, this is surface 2. So that means that surface 1 is releasing some energy to surface 2, and surface 2 is receiving some energy from surface 1 is releasing to 2, and 2 is giving something to 1. So this difference is the net energy exchange between the two surfaces. So let us obtain Q12 and Q21. এই ওপরে ওরা আবার কাজ শুরু করেছে, একটু বন্ধ করান না, একটা পর্যন্ত। Okay, so what is Q12? Anyone has the value ready? Just put it in the chat box.
Sir, for F how will you find F, I mean?
What is the question again?
Sir, how will we find view factor, I'm asking.
So how will you find view factor? Okay, so you open your textbook.
Yes, sir, from the table, right?
You got the table?
Yes, sir.
Yes, good. So from there you will find. So it will be sometime easier to read the chart rather than the calculating it from the table. The view factor, everyone please report view factor. I think this is not a correct value of view factor. So let me hear some more view factors. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of variety of values I'm getting. So some which matching with mine. Varun Balkrishna's value is matching. Soham Zade matching, close, not close, but okay. Yeah, Kumari Bhavna matching. Everyone must report the view factor. SS Vardhan matching. Yes. If you see some chart, always go and read that chart rather than going into formula, because these formulas are long and sometimes there might be mistake there. So yeah, Yashvi Jain correct. Samira Yasmin correct. Yeah, so I think the view factor I'm getting is okay. So it's 0.28527. So that kind of value you should get. Yeah. Jyotiraditya Vaishnavi. Okay, so you should get something about 0.28. So the radiation that it is released, this is releasing. So Q1 to 2 minus Q2 to 1. See, both cases the view factor is 0.28. And the amount of radiation per unit area is sigma T1 to the power 4. And total radiation A1. And this view factor is same for both cases because of symmetry. So minus 0.28 into again sigma T2 to the power 4 into A2. A2 is A1. So this is A1. So you should get around 18 kilowatt, 18.4 kilowatt. Okay. So this is the net radiation exchange between these two surfaces. Okay, so this, any question on this particular problem?
No, sir.
Okay, good. So this is how basically you learned that how to read view factor from tables and charts, and all of you, almost everyone who tried get correct value of view factor. A little bit sometime at the beginning you want to rush and sometime you may make mistake, but I think all of have corrected, and now you know that how to get view factor and how to use that with this sigma T1 to the power 4 thing. Had it been a gray, is a non-black surface, so if epsilon would have been given, you have to multiply it with epsilon. So that you already know from the previous problem. So now let us see. Now we learned that how to use the other summation rule for view factor and reciprocating rule from view factor to get view factor values, because view factor between all pairs of planes may not be available, and that's not needed. So you have certain other relation which can be used. So to demonstrate that, we solve problem number 4 from our tutorial. Determine all the view factors associated with enclosure formed by two concentric spheres. So we have two concentric spheres. This is surface 1. So this is surface 2. So we have four view factors: F11, F12, F21, F22. So here you have to get some view factors by inspection and others by using the summation and reciprocity rule. So this is also given that this is Ri, Ro. So summation rule says that if Ij summation over j equals to 1, that is because the view factor is the fraction of radiation leaving surface I, that is reaching surface j. In an enclosure, it reaches some of the surfaces. So if all such fractions are added, must be 1. And it also says Ai if Ij equals to Aj if Ji. So these are the two rules that you need to use. So which one is the easiest view factor to find out here from inspection?
F11,
F11. What is the value of F11?
0.
F11 is 0. That is because whatever radiation leaves surface 1, it cannot reach surface 1. Because it's a completely convex surface. That is not true for a concave surface. For example, surface 2, part of the radiation that leaves surface 2 goes to surface 2 itself. So we cannot say this for surface 2. So F22 is not equals to 0, but we know that F11 equals to 0. That means F12 equals to
1.
F12 equals to 1 from the summation rule. Now we can use F12 to give F21 because these areas are known. And then summation rule to get F22. So go ahead and get those values. Values means expressions.
So F21 is R1 square by R2 square.
Yes. So Ri square over Ro square.
And F22 is 1 minus Ri square.
So these are straightforward. Sometimes problems may not be that straightforward, but this is the gist. So you have to use these two rules properly to get unknown view factors. So you see that it's not always that you have to look for charts and tables. Sometimes it's easier to look at the view factor from inspection itself. You can get the view factors. And getting the view factors is one of the key steps for solving radiation problems. Now we are ready for solving radiation problem where we have multiple surfaces which are non-black. So for this is for black surface. So whatever radiation falls on that has to be absorbed completely. It cannot re-radiate back. But if it re-radiates back, then we have to worry about the radiosity of the surface. So our next venture is to solve for such radiosities for an enclosure. So it is radiation exchange between opaque, diffused, and gray surfaces in an enclosure. So enclosure means these all surfaces make an enclosure, something like that. If in actual problem there is no enclosure formed, if there is some portion open, so we can always say imaginary surface. We can form an imaginary surface and use the same methodology for solving those problems as well. So when we do such things, for example, if we have to put an imaginary surface here to form an enclosure, so we often assume that surface to be a black surface. That means whatever radiation falls on the surface, it goes and never comes back or reflected. So this is a black surface. That kind of assumptions are common. So now we are looking at radiation exchange between opaque, diffuse, gray surface forming an enclosure. So our goal is similar to this. What is the net amount of energy received by a surface that is releasing this much and receiving this much? So the net amount it's receiving is this much. So that kind of calculation we want to achieve. So let us denote. So we have such an enclosure with n number of surfaces, and now we are talking about the ith surface. And Qi is denoted as the net amount of energy leaving surface I. The net amount of energy leaving surface I. So what I should write in terms of our radiosity and this global irradiation? AI times
J minus G.
J minus G. J is something which it is releasing, radiosity of ith surface. G, what is the incident radiation it's on it. All right. So Ji, that is total amount of radiosity of that surface, and Gi is the incident on that surface. Now just note carefully that it's an opaque, diffuse, and gray surface. So Kirchhoff's law applies to this, and also we know that because there is nothing transmits, so alpha is equals to 1 minus rho. That is the reflectivity. So we'll use those terms. So first let us write AI times, or rather let us first write down this clearly for Gi. So what we'll try to do now is that we'll try to substitute Gi in terms of known variables, so that we get rid of at least one of the unknowns. So right now this equation has three unknowns: Qi, Ji, and Gi. All three are unknowns. So we try to get rid of GI from this equation first, in terms of JI at least. So we can write that JI equals to EI plus rho GI. So that gives us some hope that yes, so JI and GI are not completely independent. The definition of GI itself says that it's emission from the surface plus the portion that is reflected portion of the GI itself. All right. So now next we write EI equals to epsilon times EBI. All right. Plus rho GI. Now rho is the reflected part, and we know that alpha plus tau plus rho equals to 1. The fraction absorbed, fraction transmitted, fraction reflected. Because it's an opaque, so this tau is 0. So alpha plus rho equals to 1. So we can write rho equals to 1 minus alpha. All right. So where we are writing because, so we can write, okay, we should write I here because every surface may have different properties. And now using our Kirchhoff's law, we can write epsilon I EBI plus 1 minus epsilon I GI. All right. So now this is the equation where I will use to eliminate GI from here. So from here I write GI minus epsilon I EBI divided by 1 minus epsilon I equals to GI. Now I'll substitute it here. So substituting here, I get QI equals to AI JI minus epsilon I EBI so this becomes AI JI Okay, so this is our first equation. So from 3 variables, I got equation involving 2 variables. So I need another equation to solve for this JI or QI. So this equation is clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Little bit algebra, nothing much. Okay, so now, so this equation, you see that I haven't used the view factor funda. So view factor can be used. So the second equation I can develop by using view factors or the geometric arrangements that I haven't used so far. So for that, we'll say that first let us write AIGI. So take another color. We can write AIGI. That is the total energy, total amount of energy received by ith surface. That is a summation of AJ JJ. That's the jth surface, the radiosity of jth surface times area. That means energy released by jth surface times fraction of that is received by ith surface. GI. Okay. So it is the first subscript is the releasing surface and second subscript is the receiving surface. So remember our derivation. This surface at the base was ith surface. So this is the releasing surface, and we call it Fij. So first subscript is the releasing surface and second subscript is the receiving surface. So Fji, Aj, Jj. So this is summed over j equals to 1 to n. So this is another way of eliminating g. So now let us do a little bit of simplification here. Equals to summation of j equals to 1 to n. If ji aj, we can write it as we are attempting to cancel ai from here. We'll not cancel, but we can cancel so that we write it as ai Fij. That's the reciprocity rule. That ai Fij equals to aj Fji. Jj remains as it is. Next, we can cancel, as I said, that it will come back later, but for time being we have gi equals to summation of Fij Jj. All right. So now for the second equation, I will use this to substitute gi. So what I got here, is qi equals to ai ji minus summation of Fij Jj. So we'll play a little bit trick here to make it slightly simple. So we use the summation rule. Summation rule says that if Ij summed over j is 1, summation of if Ij summed over j equals to 1. So this 1, so this is summed over j, So I replace 1 here. J times 1, I can write ji times summation Fij summed over j. So it doesn't make any difference because it's 1. Summation Fij Jj. So now because this is I can pull it inside the summation because the summation is over j. So it's as if like a constant. It can go in and out. So this is written as ai summation over j ji if ij minus summation over j if ij jj. So this gives qi equals to ai summation over j if ij ji minus jj. So ai we can pull inside. So customarily it's pulled inside ai if ij ji minus jj. So this is another equation for q. So now we have two equations for two unknowns. We can solve qi and ji for all the surfaces. So we can eliminate qi from here so that we can have equations for n number of equations for n number of surfaces. So we can write it as ai ebi minus ji So you solve this equation for radiosity of ith surface, writing this for each of these surfaces, and then we can write this net radiation qi for any of these surfaces by using this equation. Once ji is solved, either of these equations, especially this is easier, this can be used to get the net heat exchange for ith surface. Okay. So again, let me just quickly revise what we did for radiation exchange between opaque, diffused gray surfaces forming an enclosure. Our venture is to get qi, the net amount of energy leaving surface I. We want to calculate that. And we write this equation qi as ai, ji minus ji. First thing we are trying to do is that this is an equation, so we have to eliminate other things in terms of known things. So we first noted that their ji and gi are not completely independent, so there are certain relation between them. So we exploited that relation, used some simplification, and wrote gi in terms of ji. We wrote that. We got one equation involving qi and ji. Still, we cannot solve this qi and ji because this qi and ji now two unknowns. So we noted that we yet to use another information, that what fraction of radiation from another one surface leaves another surface. So the view factor. So we wrote another relation between ji and gi using view factor. Did little bit manipulation here and there. It's difficult to guess at this point for you that why we have written this kind of manipulation. That is basically to write it as kind of driving force kind of thing. So that's the sole reason. There is no other reason. So this kind of manipulation, little bit of algebraic manipulation done, which is justification for which will come if you see this last expression is written as a kind of driving force. So we have written this gi in terms of this sigma fi, ji and ji, and then substituted it here. little bit of manipulation, as I said, and then get another equation involving this Qi and Ji. And these two equations now we combine by eliminating Qi, and now we have pure set of equations for Ji. So these we'll write for all of the surfaces in the enclosure and then solve for Ji. And this Gi's will be used to get the net amount of heat exchange. Okay, any question on this small derivation?
No, sir.
Okay.
The GI should be summation of FJI into JJI, right?
Which one?
FI. GI.
This Gi here you were talking about?
No,
this,
the equation written below that.
This one, right?
Yes, sir. I did not understand.
Okay. See, this one came from here. Just a second. See, this came directly from this. Just cancelling AI.
Okay, sir. Okay. Now I got it.
Okay, so if you are ready, then we start solving the last problem of the tutorial. Just keep these two equations in front of you. Nothing else will be needed. But don't rush. Just read this carefully. First, read the problem carefully, draw schematic, make a plan, then only proceed. You need to show me the schematic for this problem. So just draw a schematic on your notebook carefully. Okay, so anyone wants to show me the video or the schematic? Four schematics I need to see before I proceed.
Sir, can you see the video?
Soham Zadeh? Show me. Okay, yes. So the dikha. Renadu, just keep it on the screen for some time. So bottom heater, top absorber. There is a same thing like the previous problem. Only thing is that surfaces are not black, and there is some surface like the room surface at 300 Kelvin. Good. So a good schematic. Would anyone else?
Sir, is my screen visible?
Yes. Good. Same. The two surfaces, and yes, good. Good. So Shaskar Singh. So show some way the room surface. Like others have shown some a square, some random surface. You can also draw something like this. So you need not to have a square. So just a random jagged line, something like room surface. The last one. Anyone else showing me the schematic?
Can I show, sir?
Yes, yes. और थोड़ा दूर लेके जाओ. So it's better to draw a 3D kind of thing, pseudo 3D. So you have drawn it almost like a 2D. So try to draw it like a 3D. Especially the radiation problem, most of them are 3D. So try to draw it as 3D. Good. So now we have schematics. So now let me also draw it. So we have two surfaces. Both again same dimension. One is heater. Heater is at 601. Heater is at 1000 Kelvin. Surface is at 600 Kelvin. These sides are insulated. These sides are insulated. And there is a surface of the room. This is at black body. At 300 Kelvin. 300 Kelvin. Okay. So this is 1. This is 2. This is 3. So now what we have to obtain?
Net rate of heat transfer to the observer surface.
To which surface? Q2, right? In terms of symbol, we have to obtain Q2.
Yes.
We have to obtain Q2 is being asked. So Q2 being asked means that if we get J2, then we get Q2. So we have to get J2 and J1. So J1 is not asked. So if it's not needed, not needed. So J2 we have to obtain. And we see that J3 is known because J3 is E3, EB3 because it's a black body. Its temperature is given. So EB3 is known. Its area is not known. Area is not known and may not be needed because J3 is known. So because J3 is known, so here I don't need to write equation for surface 3. So I can write equation for surface 1 and surface 2. Although in the summation I have to sum for all surfaces, but let us see that how it goes. So now you write down first write down this equation for surface 1 and surface 2. Write down in your notebook for this equation for surface 1 and surface 2.
So Q2 is the net amount of heat leaving surface 2, right?
Yes.
So is that equal to the net amount received?
That is the negative of that. It says Q2 is defined as net amount leaving surface 2. If it's negative, then we'll say that it's receiving.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So AI actually not needed. We can cancel it. So we get these two equations. See, F11 equals to 0, F22 equals to 0. So F11 will not be here. F12. This is one equation. Another equation will be okay. So you should get these two equations. So you see that since the temperatures are known, EB1 and EB2, those are known. That's the emission from black body at temperature of surface 1, emission from black body at temperature of surface 2. Emissivities of both surfaces are given, so epsilons are known. So these equation can be solved once we know all the view factors. F12, F21, F13, F23. Okay. So easiest to find out F21 and F12. What is F2? Find out F21 equals to F12. Because of symmetry, F21 equals to F12. So, and you already know that how to get those view factors. The dimensions are slightly different. So, let us get the view factors. F12 equals to F21 equals to, so this is done.
Sir, is it 0.37?
0 point.
Yes, sir, nearly 0.4.
Yeah, 0.4, close to 0.4. Yeah. So just give little more time to others to finish. So it should be something around 0.4. So now, which other view factor we can obtain?
F13 and F23.
Yes. So get these two view factors as well.
F13 will be 0.6, like 1 minus 0.4.
Yeah. Okay. So F12 and F21, those we can obtain from the previous problem thing. And using summation rule, F11 plus F12 plus F13 equals to 1.0. F11 equals to 0 because the surface 1 cannot see itself. F12 is 0.4. So that gives F13 equals to 0.6. And because F13 and F23, those has to be symmetric because this is a large surface far away from this. So from symmetry, we can approximately say that F13 equals to F23 equals to 0.6. Just make sure that you understand how we get the view factors. Now solve J1 and J2. In fact, J1 will not be required. So all we need the value of J2. So now you have everything here. So just put those values and get the value of J2. You type this value of J2 that you get in the chat box. Some more values I want to see. The equations are same as I get.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, but like there are some slightly difference like after 3 digits, but yes, they are more or less same.
Then the J2 value, why it's differing? J2 value I get something around 17 kilowatt kind of. Per meter square.
In the second equation, I'm getting the coefficient of J2 as 2.
J2 as 2.
Yes, sir. I'm also getting that only.
Yes, sir. Sorry, like it's not 1.6, it's 2.
Okay, maybe something wrong here. Okay, so J2 is, some people are reporting 13, 14 kilowatt. J2 has to be kilowatt per meter square. Okay. J2 has to be kilowatt per meter square. So around 14 kilowatt per meter square. So we get J2. And with this J2, what is Q2?
— 141 kilowatt.
131.
141.
140. So you cannot just multiply it with the area. So you have to put it in this expression. So I hope you put it in the expression, right? So this is the expression where you have to put it.
Sorry, sir, I multiplied by area directly.
You have to put it here.
Sir, it should be minus 134 kilowatt.
Okay. Others, please report your own value. Let me see which one is the correct value, because I don't have this calculation. This mistake has made changes. 134 kilowatt. That means it receives that much amount of energy. Okay, I'll just wait for 5 values of Q2. So if you have done, just quickly put it in the chat box. Minus 67 kilowatt. Someone is getting minus 67. A lot of people are getting 67. Some 94. Anyway, so only thing is that we have to be careful that once you get J2, just make sure that you put in the correct expression. Just don't multiply with 10 and say that this is or 10 or area. Don't do that. So it's possible to be in the trap. Otherwise, there is straightforward. I think I'm getting a lot of people reporting 67. 67 is half of this. It's coming 67. The epsilon values are taken correctly. EBI. Is J is 14 kilowatt. EB2 equals to 7.3 kilowatt. 7.349 kilowatt per meter square. So area, what is the area? (10 meters square is the area. 10 meters square. Epsilon Q. Epsilon is 0.5, that is 1 here. So 1 minus epsilon by epsilon. This is 1 because epsilon is 0.5. So this is yeah. Yeah, minus 67 kilowatt. That's the kind of values it should be. Yeah, correct thing. Okay. Okay, that's it. So it completes our radiation part and completes my part of heat transfer, conduction, and radiation. So I just want to make sure that you have the grades for the first test and first 2 assignments ready, and second assignment you have seen that is posted, and the radiation test will be on 9th, this next Friday, 9th April. Okay. So any question?
So like, could you tell what will be the weightages of the tests and assignments?
So I have 50% in my hand for heat transfer. Out of 50%, I will keep this equal 25-25 for radiation and conduction. So out of which 25, I will keep. So I'm not sure at this point. So how much weightage I need to give to your test and one. So I have some figured out something here, because that depends on the test performance and performance. I have looked at it, so I'll mail you that detail.
Okay, sir.
Anything else other than weightage of assignment and tests? Test will be slightly higher.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? And you have all evaluation available to you, right? First two assignments and first test.
Yes, sir.
Okay, solutions are also available with the grading rubric.
Sir, the solutions are available, but sir, in the feedback, I've just gotten one line and I'm not sure where exactly the marks have been deducted. So if there's any way to show exactly where the marks is deducted.
Mail your concern to Devdeep.
Okay, sir.
Copy to me. Okay, if nothing else, then I'll say goodbye and see you in the next semester for another course possibly. And hopefully we'll have offline semester. So let us see how it goes.
Thank you, sir.
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 Thank you, sir.